What's up, YouTube? It is I, your friendly neighborhood movie nerd, back to give you guys the latest stuff about movies, TV, and just, everything that goes on in the world of movies. Point being, so, we are in a little bit of a race now. We are coming towards Oscar week, but there is a movie that is on the horizon that I am very much looking forward to. It's the next big rated R superhero movie that everybody's freaking out about, only it's not Deadpool. It is from Fox, and it's Logan. I am super looking forward to this movie. And some of the early reviews are coming out. I'm not listening to them because I want to form my own opinion of the movie. But these reviews are saying that this movie is not only the beautiful send-off that we've all been waiting for Hugh Jackman's long portrayal of the character of Wolverine, but it is also one of the best superhero movies ever made. And that got me thinking. I did my superhero video, my top 10 favorite superhero movies video a while ago. That was when I was first starting out in YouTube, I think it was 2 years ago now. And anyways, I'm here now, still at my house, but I decided to do something a little bit different. I am going to do a little bit of an update on my top 10 superhero movies because a lot of movies have come and gone since then in terms of the superhero genre. The genre has expanded even more so, but I thought, a superhero movie specifically, is only good as the character who plays the leads. And in the past 20 years alone, since the superhero genre really got kickstarted, it was even there before the year 2000, but 2000 is really what kickstarted it. So I decided to do my top 10 favorite portrayals of superheroes. So let me explain what I mean by this. So basically, I am taking an actor who portrayed a superhero. I'm looking at how well they portrayed the character. I'm going to look at how well cast they were when they were originally casting the character. And I'm going to look at how well their performances hold up to today. Some are going to be recent, some not so much. So without further ado, here is my official top 10 favorite superhero castings of all time. But of course, before I get to the actual 10, here are some honorable mentions.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
Vain, greedy, cruel boy! And you are an old man and a fool! Oh my God, this is it! Tell everyone to hang on! Break it down! Damn. Ow.
Like every serial killer already knew, eventually fantasizing just doesn't do it for you anymore. It was time to engage.
And in it, a great hero named Kevin Bacon. He teaches an entire city full of people with sticks up their butts that dancing, well, it's the greatest thing there is.
We need you to come in.
Are you kidding? I'm working.
This takes precedence.
I'm in the middle of an interrogation. This moron is giving me everything.
I don't give everything.
Look, you can't pull me out of this right now.
We happy few, we band of brothers. For he who sheds his blood with me this day shall be my brother.
Spectacular things my mutation allows me to do is that I can read your mind.
Okay, you cunts. Let's see what you can do now.
Mama is not the law. I am the law. Mama is a common criminal.
Alright, so kicking off this list, coming in at number 10 is a portrayal of a character that is very near and dear to my heart. I love the graphic novel that this movie is based on, and I still have a very soft spot for this movie, even though a lot of people do not like it, and that is Jackie Earle Haley's portrayal of Walter Kovacs, aka Rorschach, in Zack Snyder's 2009 adaptation of the hit Alan Moore 1986 graphic novel, Watchmen. In this film, Haley portrays Rorschach, who is a vigilante who is well known for wearing his Rorschach mask that is known for its constant changing features. He has an ironclad duty. He is convinced in his ways that he views society as black and white. Nothing can compromise. He will never compromise. He will never back down. He will never surrender. Haley portrays all of this in excellence. This performance was so good that he even got offered the role of the iconic Freddy Krueger for the next year. Yeah, we all know how that turned out. It's really sort of a layered performance, and he manages to take the nuances of the character and translate them to the big screen in a way that I don't even think Zack Snyder thought that he was going to be capable of. Because we all know how Zack Snyder does when it comes to a little thing called character development. But yeah, he was really scary when he needed to, but at the same time, he was really, really touching when he needed to. He managed to hit every emotional beat perfectly, and that is honestly why Jackie Earle Haley makes this list at my number 10 for his portrayal of Rorschach. Coming in at 9 is a performance for a movie that not a lot of people would look at as a superhero movie, but it is based off of a comic book that is for a popular superhero, and that would be Wesley Snipes' portrayal as Blade. 1998, 2 years before X-Men would revolutionize the superhero genre, David S. Goyer teamed up with Wesley Snipes, who was one of the biggest movie stars at the time, to produce this story about this half-human, half-vampire slayer who goes around killing vampires, known as the Daywalker. But let me make something clear about how revolutionary this performance was. Blade, the character of Eric Brooks Blade from the comics before Wesley Snipes came in, was, I'm pretty sure, this pristine Englishman who only did what he needed to do when he needed to do it. Wesley Snipes came in, completely revolutionized this character, basically made it his version of every badass character he'd been playing for the past 10 years or so. He turned this guy into a foul-mouthed, badass martial artist, crazy daywalker who was not afraid to get down and dirty and was just so much fun to watch. And he basically took over this character, and every single comic version of the character ever since his portrayal has been a perfect representation. His characterization of Eric Brooks is one that is really underrated because, again, not a lot of people view Blade as a superhero movie, but again, it is, and so that is why Wesley Snipes' portrayal of Blade makes its place here at my number 9 spot. Coming in at number 8 is a performance of a superhero that is a lot more recent, especially because this actor has only been playing this character for the past 5 years now, and that is Mark Ruffalo's turn as Dr. Bruce Banner, aka the Incredible Hulk. So this character was portrayed by 2 actors previously. That would be Eric Bana in the 2003 Ang Lee disaster of a film, and Edward Norton in the 2008 film. Now, as we all know, the 2008 Incredible Hulk would be the version of the Hulk that would help to kickstart the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man cameos at the end of it. So Edward Norton was supposed to be the guy who was playing the Hulk in the Avengers, but Ed Norton, being the guy that he is a very specific type of an actor, and he only usually does a very specific types of roles. He could tell Incredible Hulk was a little bit of a paycheck for him. I liked the movie a lot more than other people did, but he just wanted out, so he managed to get rid of his contract, and he was out for the Avengers. In came Mark Ruffalo, who had been doing some work at the time. He just got his first Oscar nomination a couple years ago for The Kids Are All Right, and then he comes in for the Avengers. So he comes in, it's not Ed Norton. You automatically know that it's going to be the Hulk because the way that it's been building, the film had been building up to that point. He's like one of the first ones that is viewed. I actually think he appears in the film before Captain America or Iron Man do. And he just manages to take this character of Bruce Banner and make it completely his own. When he appears on screen as Bruce Banner, you can tell that there is a darkness that he is hiding to him. You can tell that he is very in touch with the inner monster inside of himself, and that every single minute he is trying his hardest to keep this beast down. And he is so subtle, he is so charming, and he is just so likable as the character of Bruce Banner. He makes me more invested in Bruce Banner than I probably ever have been before in any of the previous incarnations. And of course he does a great job as the Hulk as well, but let's face it, that's just all CGI, and he doesn't really have to do much. He just has to stand there, look angry, and roar, and the effects team does the rest. But yeah, he's only technically been in 2 feature-length movies, unless you count the scene at the end of Iron Man 3, but is going to be in Thor Ragnarok, and he is confirmed to be in the next 2 Avengers movies. So while his run is definitely shorter than some of the other entries on this list, he still manages to make his impact, and that is why Mark Ruffalo's portrayal of Bruce Banner, aka the Incredible Hulk, makes its way here at my number 8 spot. Coming in at number 7 is yet another MCU portrayal, another recent portrayal, and so this performance was one that kind of shocked me, because this guy, in terms of the superhero that he was playing, this was not the first superhero that this guy played, but in the, hold on, let me do the math here, 6 years that this guy has been playing this character, he has completely amazed me at how interesting of a character he has managed to make, and that would be Chris Evans' portrayal of Steve Rogers, aka Captain America. And of course, the role that everybody knows that I'm referring to is his previous portrayal of Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, in those god-awful mid-2000s Fantastic Four movies. I thought he was good in those, and he was really tapping into what the character was supposed to be. Those movies were not so good, though. Come 2011, I find Chris Evans cast as the first Avenger. Now, I've never been that big a Captain America fan going forward, but after I watched that first movie, I'm like, okay, the movie was so-so, it was a good origin story, this guy's got promise. He really did a good job as Captain America. Then the first Avengers came out, and I saw how well he worked together with the team and how he was beginning to embrace the character, and I'm like, okay, I can see this. Then I saw Winter Soldier. Then I saw Age of Ultron, and with Civil War, I am just completely cemented. I am locked in. I'm like, okay, I'm willing to follow you to the end, Chris Evans. You are Captain America. The problem with playing a superhero is that because you have so many expectations to fill in terms of the fact that you are playing an iconic character that has been this hero to a massive generation of fans for years, it can put a little bit of pressure on you in terms of what you're actually able to bring to the role as an actor. And Chris Evans, what he has been able to do for the role of Captain America, this typically stock just idea of patriotism, and make him into a fully fleshed out character that is interesting and that fans are still willing to follow after 5 years, is nothing short of a miracle. Seeing where he starts out back in the 40s and then seeing that transition into the modern day and then seeing the things that he has to deal with in the modern day, it's arguably the biggest dynamic shift that in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. Even more so than Iron Man, I would even make such an argument as. And Chris Evans is able to deliver every single step of the way. I never thought this casting makes his spot here at number 7 because it's the casting that I never thought I would enjoy as much as I did. So that's why Chris Evans' portrayal of Captain America makes his spot right here at my number 7 spot. Coming in at number 6 is a portrayal that I never really gave much thought to when I first saw these couple of movies, but looking back, I realized, wow, without this portrayal, we never would have gotten a lot of superheroes going forward, and that is Patrick Stewart's pitch perfect portrayal of Professor Charles Xavier in those first couple of movies. Now, as we all know, Professor X in most recent years has been portrayed as a younger version by James McAvoy, who is flawless in the role. But Patrick Stewart, getting such a veteran actor to play this character that really is just this teacher in the comics who really doesn't have a whole lot to do, and the way that Patrick Stewart is able to make him such an interesting, viable character. Like, this is one of those castings that literally looks like it came right off the pages of the comic book. But rather than just seeing what I could easily read, Patrick Stewart has this gravitas, this nuance that an English Shakespearean actor is able to bring to this role, and the way that he interacts with all of these teachers. You don't actually see, in that first X-Men movie, you don't actually see him teaching any of these X-Men at all. You just see their relationship to him and understand this guy is the rock. This guy is the center of this team. This guy is the epicenter. This guy has been fighting for mutant rights since long before any of them have been born, and this guy will do whatever it takes to stick by his teammates, and Patrick Stewart, it just epitomizes all of that into one. He's your dad, he's your grandpa, he's your best friend, he's your mentor, he's your teacher, all rolled into one big telepathic, that's the word, ball of compassion and joy. And Patrick Stewart just does absolutely everything right for the role. He's perfectly cast. I don't even think, no offense to McAvoy, but nobody could touch Patrick Stewart as Professor X, which is why he makes his way here at my number 6 spot. Coming in at number 5 is the casting that has been through the most hell in just the past 7 years alone now. Wow, it's been 7 years. So as we all know, there was a movie that came out in 2009 called X-Men Origins Wolverine. I don't need to go into any more detail on how terrible that movie was, but there was a casting that came out of it that fans really liked, at least for the first couple minutes that he was on screen. Well, that actor finally got the chance to show his acting chops and show just how great he was in the role that he was born to play. And of course, I'm talking about none other than Ryan Reynolds' portrayal as Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, in 2016's surprise smash hit, Deadpool. I've talked about some great superhero castings on this list, but if you want to talk about an actor that, as I just said, was literally born to play this role, Ryan Reynolds fills out all of the comic book checkpoints. Canadian, check. Fast talking, check. Asshole, check. Hilarious, check. Filled with meta jokes, check. Ryan Reynolds literally fills out every checkbox for Deadpool, but it's not just filling out a checklist that makes him great. It's the fact that he is passionate about this role. It's the fact that he has been fighting since that shitbox Origins was released to get this character made. And it's the fact that even today, after Tim Miller has left, he is still just as passionate and just as enthusiastic about the character, even after the movie has come out and made as much money as it did. He still is fighting with Fox to make sure that this character is done right, and he handles it every step of the way beautifully. And even looking back at the movie of Deadpool, the movie itself, the story ends up being kind of cynical and one note and really simple to follow, and And it really is his performance that is taking you throughout the entire thing because, my God, he is hilarious. He just absolutely knows what kind of movie he is in. He throws all kinds of shade. He fully takes advantage of the rated R field. He is just so good in this role. I don't even know how many other ways I could say he was literally born to play this role. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. He can keep playing Deadpool for as long as he wants, and that is why he makes his way here at my number 5. Of course, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. Coming in at number 4 is a portrayal of a character that everybody knows. He has arguably beat out Superman as the most iconic character of all time. And no, it is not Michael Keaton, surprisingly, because I am one of those people who fully believes that Christian Bale's portrayal of Batman is one of the most nuanced, respectable, and intriguing performances I have seen in years. So let me explain why. So I was rewatching Batman 89 the other night, and I enjoyed it a whole lot as a Tim Burton film. Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, both fantastic in it. Michael Keaton's turn as the Dark Knight should certainly not be overlooked. He is absolutely incredible in the film. Here's my problem, though. I feel that Tim Burton was not able to capture in this film what the character of Batman was. He showed him as this reclusive billionaire. He showed him as this kind of freaky guy. He wanted to show that the fight between Batman and the Joker was the duel of freaks. The problem is that by revealing that the Joker is the murderer of Batman's parents in the original, it kind of takes away the nuance and the mystery of Batman in terms of that he doesn't really have any personal grudges. He's just doing what he does in order to fill this hole that has been created by killing his parents. And by making the Joker his parents' murderer, you kind of take that away and just turn it into a one-track revenge story, which works for the movie, but for the character, it didn't leave me as satiated as I wanted to be. Come 2005, though, Christopher Nolan manages to take the reins at Warner Brothers and manages to turn Batman by casting Christian Bale into the badass stalker of the night that he is. But not just that, it's Christian Bale's performance as Bruce Wayne that really fully embodies the character of Batman, because on the one hand, he is Bruce Wayne's lavish billionaire playboy who has to put on this front for the people, and then of course he's Batman beating the shit out of criminals at night. But then Christian Bale's performance also introduces a new middle ground that filmgoers at least have really never seen from Batman before. He's able to show the torture and the guilt that he lives with every single day with his parents' murders, while at the same time managing to show that inner psychopath that we all know Batman has with him, in terms of he needs to go out and beat the shit out of criminals every night because it's the only way that he feels whole as a person. And Bale is able to deliver that in such a way that I don't think any actor before or since has been able to do. Is he overshadowed at times? Of course. Is sometimes the writing a little bit heavy-handed in terms of the philosophical notions that the films are trying to get across? Absolutely. Is Dark Knight Rises still full of plot holes? Of course. Is the voice ridiculous? Absolutely. But it still doesn't take away from the fact that Christian Bale, to me, fully embodies everything that is the character of Batman, that not just I appreciated about the comics, but also just about my own notions of the character. Christian Bale was able to deliver those every single way. He is my favorite Batman. He is the best Batman in my opinion, and that is why he makes my spot on my list at my number 4, Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne, aka Batman. Coming in at number 3 is yet another portrayal that fans did not appreciate when it first came out, because if you look back at the history of superhero castings, at least 9 out of every 10 superhero castings, fans complained that this guy was not right for the role. And this was another one that fans hated when this guy was first cast as this character. And now, looking forward, 17 years later, he is on his 8th outing and supposedly final outing, and that of course is Hugh Jackman's portrayal as Wolverine. Oh my God, talk about defying expectations. Hugh Jackman was a nobody before that first X-Men in 2000, an absolute nobody, and now everybody knows who he is. He was able, and all because of this one portrayal of this character, he was able to capture everything that was great about Wolverine from the comics with his own little mix of grit, in order to make this guy seem so appealing on so many different levels. So much so that he has become the poster boy of Fox's superhero campaign. They try to get him for every single one of their superhero movies they've produced that doesn't have the Fantastic Four logo on it, because he is just that good as Wolverine. Just able to deliver such charm and a nuance to such a brutal character with such a deep, violent past who just really, you would think would have no hope for redemption, but is just able to keep moving forward, and you absolutely sympathize with and love him every step of the way, even after seeing all the torture and the hurt that this guy has gone through over the years. You get to see him start off in that 2000 X-Men as this lost soul who is just wandering with no memory of who he is and just no idea really of who he is. Then he finds the X-Men, and they give him something that he really hasn't had before, a home. And then in X2, he's forced to confront his origin and relive some painful memories in order to help his new family survive. And then you got the shit that he has to deal with in X3 and X-Men Origins, which, say what you will about those movies, but he is still great in them. And then you have First Class, which is just a cameo. And then you have him front and center in Days of Future Past. And he is essentially now the glue that is holding the team together. And ultimately, just the character of Wolverine would not have been the same without Hugh Jackman holding it together from day one. It's his last outing in Logan. He's going to wrap up that character arc beautifully and send him off in the most perfect way. I cannot thank him enough for giving us one of the best superhero castings of all time, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Coming in at number 2 is a portrayal that was pitch perfect from the get-go. Stan Lee has said multiple times that this is one of the top 3 best superhero castings of all time. This guy is the glue that holds the Marvel Cinematic Universe together. It started with him. It's still going with him. It's Robert Downey Jr. as the man himself, Tony Stark, genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, aka Iron Man. 2008 was such a revolutionary year for this guy, considering the fact that he appeared in one of the 2 best superhero movies of the year. He was able to completely embody everything that this character was supposed to be. And yes, of course, it's made easier by the fact that he is playing himself, this rich billionaire asshole. But it's the transformation that he goes through throughout the first movie, and as well as the rest of the cinematic universe, that makes him such a rich, layered character. And Downey is able to embody everything that makes that character great and carry it throughout. I think it's 6 movies that he's been in now. He's charming. He's a bastard. He's hilarious. He cracks one-liners. He's super rich. Everybody wants to be him. Everybody wants to be Downey. When people see Downey on the streets now, they automatically think of him as Iron Man. He has visited multiple sick kids as Iron Man. He is Iron Man. Everybody thinks of him as that. So much so that he has actually put aside any of projects that he has going forward because he wants to focus on Iron Man. To quote a movie that not a lot of people like, just when he tried to get out, they pulled him back in. Seriously though, Downey is without a doubt one of the best things that has ever happened to both the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Disney, and the world of superheroes in general. He has just been pitch perfect since day one. He is going to still be great going forward, though I don't know what his involvement will be with the universe going forward, but that is why Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, makes its way here at my number 2 spot. And the number 1 greatest superhero movie portrayal, the actor who was able to so much embody the character, the aspects, the characteristics, just everything that makes this character great, and that is, of course, none other than Christopher Reeve's portrayal as the Man of Steel Superman. Considering the fact that he is one of the first ever superhero castings that ever happened, and considering the fact that I just recently watched the original Richard Donner Superman, I immediately fell in love with him. Richard Donner was able to do something that I don't think I've seen any director or studio manage to do before, like, since the year 2000, and that is, he was able to both bring his own creative vision to the idea, pitch perfectly cast the main character, and also just understand what it is that this character stands for. And not just truth, justice, and the American way. Superman is an idea. It was originally conceived by Jerry Shyster and Joe Siegel as this Looney Tunes character. He's a force of nature. He can battle sun rays. He can leap tall buildings in a single bound. He didn't really have a character, a arc about him. And Richard Donner was able to come in and completely turn that around. However, without Christopher Reeve, I still don't think that these movies would have been nearly as good. Christopher Reeve is able to embody absolutely everything that people love about Superman. He's able to incorporate the boyish charm. He's able to embody the spirit of America. And of course, he is a massive dork holding up to today's standards. But just the fact that you can see that every moment he is struggling to protect his identity of Clark Kent so that people don't shower him. It's understandable seeing the struggle that he goes through, and it really is quite an interesting one. There's also the fact that he was cast in the movie at a time when superhero movies were not looked at as potential for serious movies. In fact, they were looked down upon as this laughable thing that was only for kids. And ultimately, Christopher Reeve helped pave the way for superhero movies to be taken as seriously as they are. And now, almost 40 years later, superhero movies are at the top tier of absolutely everything. And it all started with him. Every single moment he is on screen, he is a joy to watch. He understands everything that he needs to do about the character. He makes the character of Superman both fun to watch and an interesting character, which is something that still 40 years later no director has been able to tackle that. Bryan Singer tried. Zack Snyder, I don't know if you even want to call it trying what he did. Nobody's been able to do what Christopher Reeve and Richard Donner were able to do with that original Superman in 1978. It's the perfect representation of America. It's the perfect representation of everything that a superhero should be, and every actor that has portrayed a superhero since then has been attempted to do what Christopher Reeve did with that original Superman, which is why Christopher Reeve's portrayal of the Man of Steel, Clark Kent, Kal-El, Superman, whatever you want to call him, makes its way here at my #1 spot. So that's it. Those are my official top 10 favorite superhero castings of all time. Make sure you guys stay tuned because I'm going to be doing both my top 10 favorite super villains casting as well as my updated version of my top 10 favorite superhero movies of all time. That's it. Let me know what you guys thought of this video in the comments below. Make sure you click that like and that subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter at Movie Nerd Review. Head on over to that website, movienerdreviews.com. This has been fun. I cannot wait to see Logan. Thank you guys for being such great subscribers. I will see you guys next time.